Lesson 5. Compare and order rational numbers. You can use a number line to compare and order rational numbers. A number is greater than another number if it is to the right of it. Example 1. Fill in the bubble in this equation. Negative 2.2, bubble, 1.4. We're going to fill the bubble with this symbol that means less than, greater than, or equal to make a true statement. And then I'm going to graph the decimals on this number line. So negative 2.2 is right here and 1.4 is right here. If you go from left to right, you see that this one, negative 2.2, is smaller or less than 1.4. So we write it like this. The bubble in the middle, we're going to fill it up with the less than. Let's go to example 2. In example 2, you have to fill the bubble when comparing these two fractions. Okay, when we compare two fractions, we need to use the least common denominator. Meaning, the least common denominator between 5 and 3 is going to be 15. So, I take the first one, and multiply. 5 times what number is 15? 5 times 3. I got 15. So, I'm going to multiply the numerator by the same number, 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So an equivalent fraction to negative 4, 5, it is negative 12, 15. Let's go to the other one. 2/3, I'm going to change the 3 to 15. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 5, give me 15. I'm going to multiply the numerator times the same number, 5, and I get 10, 15. Negative 10, 15 is an equivalent fractions to negative 2/3. Now I'm going to compare this one and this one. They have the same denominator, so it's easier to compare. So we can see that negative 12, 15 is less than negative 10, 15 because I only compare the numerators. Negative 12 is smaller or less than negative 10. If you do the number line, this is 0, this is going to be negative 10, this is going to be negative 12. So starting by the left to right, you see that negative 12 is less than negative 10. So negative 12, 15 is going to be less than negative 10, 15. Let's do exercise number 1. Compare negative 8.6 and negative 8.64. So if we make a number line, we can see the 8.6 is to the right of 8.64. This is going to be negative 8.6 and negative 8.64. That is this value, absolute value, is greater than negative 8.6. It's going to be in the left. When compare 8.6 and 8.64, you have to take into account the distance to the 0. Which one is bigger? What distance is bigger to the 0? Okay, the absolute value, meaning the positive value. Negative 8.64 is greater than negative 8.6. That's why the negative 0.64 comes first, and after comes 0.86. So in this exercise, negative 8.6 is going to be greater, this one, greater than this one, because in the right. So let's put greater than negative 8.64. If you read it in this direction, you're going to read negative 8.64 less than negative 8.6. Let's go to number 2 now. In number 2, we have to compare negative 7.3 and 6.9. So we make a number line. If this is 0, this is positive, it's going to be at the right, 6.9. This is negative, it's going to be at the left, negative 7.3. So coming from left to right, we see that negative 7.3 is less than 6.9, and we write it like this. On exercise number 3, we have to compare negative 3.7 with negative 2.7. Okay, so we have to divide 3 divided by 7. When we divide 3 divided by 7, we have 0.428. 0.428. This is this one, okay? We compare that with 2 divided by 7. 2 divided by 7 is going to be 0.285. 0.285. So how do you compare this in the number line? Okay, which one is bigger, 428 or 285? Well, obviously if this is negative and this is negative, this 428, the distance between this point and the 0 is bigger than the distance between this point and 0. So negative 0.285 is going to be here, and negative 0.428 around here. So you see that this distance is bigger than distance. So this one is going to be smaller than this one. Look at that, smaller. So 37 negative is going to be smaller than negative 27. And this is my answer for number 3. On exercise number 4, we need to compare negative 311 with negative 811. If you divide 3 divided by 11, you're going to have negative 0.272. And if you divide 8 divided by 11, you're going to have, for this fraction, negative 0.727. Now we have to compare which one is bigger, or which one, starting by the left to the right, is going to be first in the left. Okay, let's do it. If this is 0, then look at that, 272 and 727. This is bigger. The distance from this one to 0 is going to be bigger. So my negative 0.727 is going to be here. And this one, the distance from this number to 0 is going to be smaller. So this is negative 0.272. So this one, you see that comes first in the right, and this one is smaller than this one, meaning that this one is bigger than this one. 0.7272, this one, is bigger than negative 0.727. And this is the answer for number 4. In number 5, we have a fraction and a mixed number. So this number, there's a decimal, we leave it like this. We're going to change this to a decimal, okay? So we're going to, in this one, you have a negative 5 and 92 cents. So this is going to be 5 plus 92 cents, meaning if you keep the sign, it's going to be 5.92. And then we can compare negative 5.95, that is this one, with this one. Which one is bigger, 595 or 592? Okay, let's do the line. This is negative 595, and here is going to be negative 592. If this is 0, why? Because the distance between this number and 0 is greater than between this number and 0. So this comes first. This is smaller or less than this one. 595 is less than negative 592. Let's go to number 6. In number 6, I have again a decimal and a mixed number. So this decimal, I leave it as a decimal. And this one, I have to change it to a decimal too. Now, remember, 8 over 25, if you do the division, is going to be 0.32. So this number here, I can rewrite it as negative 12 plus 825, that is 0.32. So this is going to be, adding these two, is going to be negative 12.32. Now I can compare this one with negative 12.32. 1232 and 1232. Oh, look at that. The same sign, the same absolute value, they are equal. And this is the answer for number 6.